for seeing the importance of this event tonight and coming out. We'd like to start with thanking our sponsor for tonight's event, Farm Bureau. We appreciate you guys for all you do in supporting our community. I'm going to introduce Derek Wooten from Farm Bureau. If you all will please welcome him.
Thank y'all for letting us be a part of this tonight. I don't know if any of y'all know a lot about Farm Bureau.
Allow the best things to happen for this community, God. We pray that you encamp your angels around us right now. For God, you are faithful, and we thank you for your faithfulness. God, would you look over this meeting tonight? Would you help us to be like-minded, God? Would you help us to be on one accord? For God, we thank you right now for everything you've done for not only this community, but this country. We love you, we honor you, and we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. And again, thank y'all for letting Farm Bureau be a part of this.
Thank you. So we wanted to let everyone know that on the back table tonight, we do have some registration cards, voter registration cards. If anyone needs to get one of those, please help yourselves tonight, along with some other literature that's back there in the back. Please feel free to just take a few moments and check out the information that's on that table before you leave tonight. I'm going to introduce our MC for tonight. We have an individual who's just been so gracious to come from all the way from Tifton, Georgia. We appreciate Miss Ashley Mobley volunteering to be here tonight to be our neutral party to MC tonight's event. So with no further ado, I will go ahead and turn over to Miss Ashley.
We're going to start off with an introduction. We get 2 minutes apiece for each question, except for the last question, which is number 6. And we're going to alternate alphabetically. This is for the mayors. We're going to start off with Eric first for the first question, and then Diane will go second, and then the second question, you'll go first. The first question is, you have 2 minutes to introduce yourself and tell us why you are qualified to be the mayor. Eric, you have 2 minutes.
My name is Eric Griffin. I am born and raised here in Hazelhurst, Georgia. I'm a former Marine, and I've been in the leadership role since I was in the age of 19. My parents is Patsy and the late D.L. Griffin. I grew up in the Autumn Hall community. My wife is Phyllis Smith Griffin. We have 4 children, Johnny, Cindy, Justin, and Austin. 11 grandkids, 1 great-grandchild. I have been a representative of Ward 3 for almost the last 8 years from the city of Hazelhurst. I've served as a council member over all of the departments in Hazelhurst and during one time or the other. And I have served as the president and vice president of the GMA District 9 and 2 years on the board of directors for the Georgia Municipal Association. I completed the Robert Lee Knox Leadership Course and have received a Certificate of Excellence from the Carl Vincent Institute of Training. I feel like I'm qualified to be the mayor. I have the experience, I have the leadership, I have the knowledge to put us where we need to be, and I have a vision for Hazelhurst. And I believe I can move us down the road to where we need to be. Anybody that has any questions, concerns, or anything else, be more than happy to take and talk to y'all after the meeting and everything. But I think my 2 minutes are about.
Ashley. Hi. I got it. All right. Bane, you have the same question. You have 2 minutes to introduce yourself and tell us why you are qualified to be mayor.
Thank you. I think I'll need that. My name is Robert Van Stone Sr., and I will, in this brief time, try to tell you why I think I'm making you a good mayor. In my first 2 years of college, I emphasized on mathematics. I took in college courses, college algebra, trigonometry, geometry, calculus, and other advanced math courses. In my last 2 years at the University of Georgia, my concentration was on business management. I took several courses in college accounting. At the university, I studied business management, economics, and the emphasis was on business. Right after I graduated, I was married at the time, I had a wife, and that fellow sitting right back there in that chair was born in Athens. We went to Albany for a short period of time, and it wasn't too long after the end of 2 or 3 years that Mr. Claude Cook had a contract with Otis Elevator Company. And he found out about me and decided I'd make him a good plant manager, and he hired me to be plant manager of the Otis Elevator operation here in Hazelhurst. We fabricated elevator and escalator components and shipped them all over this country. In fact, one thing that I can mention to you, you saw the 2 airplanes go into Twin Towers in New York. I flew back and forth up there a lot when we put the elevators and escalators in that building, and that pile of steel tumble down there, a lot of it was fabricated and built right here in Hazelhurst, Georgia. After working with Mr. Cook for a number of years in the management capacity at the plant, you folks elected me to the Georgia General Assembly. And I went to Atlanta and represented you as your state representative for a number of years. And at the same time that I was there, I was on the Highway Committee, served in the GOP.
Time's up. Right, you can stay right there because you're next. The next question is, if the city of Hazelhurst was to receive a $10 million grant, how could you put it to good use?
Well, $10 million won't cover what we need done. You think it's a lot of money, and it is. But I've had engineers to say that a water project will cost $6 million. But this is, you asked me the question, and this is what I would do with it at the time, to get the most benefit out of it. I spent $5 million on water and sewer. We've got water lines that's buried, it's rusted and falling apart, repaired here, it's so rotten it'll fall apart about 6 feet from it. So I spent $5 million on water and sewer projects. I take the next $3 million and spend on streets, sidewalks, and traffic lights, and improve our streets and mobility around town. And I'm a lover of the arts and music and drama, and I want to see an amphitheater in Hazelhurst. So I'm going to take the other, what have I got left? 3? 5, 3. I got 2 left. Okay, well, I want 3. The other 2 that's left, I want to see an amphitheater and some entertainment for our children and youth. I would like to go out on Friday night and see a nice program at the amphitheater, some good entertainment and whatnot. The children can perform during various times. So that's the way I want to have $5 million for water and sewer, 3 for time's up. I don't want to break the rules now.
You're not breaking rules. Ms. Valerie's our timekeeper.
All right, and then the $2 million on some entertainment and things that I think will improve our social life in the community. That's the way I spend it.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Mr. Smith, the same question for you. If the city of Hazelhurst was to receive a $10 million grant, how could you put it to good use?
Okay, Ms. Griffin.
Sorry.
Smith. He's Smith is
I apologize.
It's all right. Anyway, and I hate to take it sound like a parrot and everything else, but if y'all looked at my paper that I wrote this down on and everything else, and what I have put down for the $10 million is the first thing that I would take and do is fix the failing water and sewer infrastructure that we have in town. And I mean, I'm sorry to sound like a parrot, but this is what I have and everything, and this is where I think we need to put the emphasis on it. Now, granted, we wouldn't need all 10 million for it and everything else, and like I said, our sidewalks and whatever else are in such a bad state of affairs. And like I said, I'm sorry, but this is the same thing that
I like
he
the way you think,
said.
Gary. You keep on, I'm gonna vote for it. And like I said, I mean, these are the biggest things that I see that the community needs as a whole. And like I said, some of these water lines are from back in the 40s. These sidewalks that have been neglected, not taken to have anything done to it. We've done really good with our sewer so far, but there's still a lot more that needs to be taken and upgraded and whatever else. And believe it or not, I took and even have gone down here the possibility, this is the way I put it, the possibility of an amphitheater. If
The land and the support is there for it. Now, like I said, I hate to sound like that. Me and him didn't get together on this and talk about it.
I trained him well.
But these are the needs that I see for the city that the $10 million could be best used for. And anything else, well, we'll give it to Farm Bureau for donation.
Good answer. The next question is for Eric again. It's what 3 steps will you take to put the city on a firmer financial ground?
Okay, the city is, in fact, not as stable as it should be as far as being financially stable and everything. And as much to my chagrin as I am to put this down here, we have to, as a city, we have to reach out to the school, we have to reach out to the county, and we have to take and get amongst ourselves here at the city to take and actually see if we can get support for this community golf course, period. Now, with that being said, the golf course has been elephant on our back for the last 4 years. It was a very draining piece. We have put money in it, we put our heart and souls into it. We've had good people out here working, but we cannot continue to take and go on that route. We either have to have help to do it, we have to take and find someone to lease it to continue to run it. And this is the last, the very last option. It would be to close the golf course. Now, I know that's not something nobody wants to hear. Nobody wants to think about it. But we have to be realists when it comes to spending the public money. And I can't take and say anything else. The unnecessary spending, and we need to take and cut back and get purchase orders in place, have purchase orders that are there, approved before the spending is taken in place. It has to be approved prior to that. If we do not have any control over it, we don't know where it is and we don't know what we're doing. Our budget for this next year is a little over $5 million as a whole. And we're to the point where if we don't take and cut back on some expenses, whether it be find new insurance or either have employees pay part of the insurance or something like that, we're going to be in a world. Okay.
All right, Bang, the same question for you. What 3 steps will you take to put the city on a firmer financial ground?
We've struggled, I've been involved in, as I told you, government for many years. We've got a big sawmill that's down the road here. Which on the back, we've got another one, a multi-million-dollar. We've got right over here, Mr. Phillips can tell you, we've got at one time close to $100 million investment in a pellet mill. All of those installations are outside the city of Hazlehurst. We're now, we've got this tremendous, and thank God for all that now, don't get me wrong, we're proud of it. We've got this solar field now that's going to soon be equivalent to the nuclear plant in Baxter. It's outside Fort limits. The division between the county and the city, and I love those people, and I think they do me. But somehow or another we can't get our heads together, and I've struggled with this for a long time. And I'm for consolidating. If you want to improve the circumstances of the city, you need to consolidate city and county government. We're a small county, and we've already got the good course, the fire protection and other things. And consolidation of city and county government will eliminate a lot of extra costs. The next thing I do is with the golf course, I put it back under the recreation department of Jeff Davis County. If those people in the recreation department, instead of turning it over to the commissioner, the one left supported it, when he left, it fell apart. The recreation department can get a tremendous amount of money. I know. I was on the state and federal relations committee when I was a state legislature, went back and forth to Washington, and recreation can still get a lot of money. I would put the golf course under the recreation department. And then third, I enjoy a little shot of Scotch whiskey. And I go to Lumber City and Baxter and Douglas and all over everywhere and buy my scotch. And all that tax money is going out, and I've researched it, and guess what? If our people is buying, we have a liquor store in Hazlehurst, Georgia, it generates $300,000 worth of revenue. That's the third thing I do.
Right. The fourth question, and this is for you, Bank, is many communities in our region employ a city manager to carry out the day-to-day duties of the city. What are your thoughts on hiring a city manager if you should be elected?
I'm not too concerned about hiring a city manager because you've got one now. Me. I think if you were to put the ads out and get you a search committee to look for a city manager, and you look at my credentials that I've pointed out to you, my education in management and engineering, I've made a lot of modifications on some of the engineering work around town. If you look at the years that I operated a plant here in Hazelhurst as plant manager, and look at the experience that I got there, if you think the number of years that you sent me to the state legislature and I was on the highway committee and learned the works and the making and what goes on in Atlanta, and then being on that state and federal relations committee and going back and forth to Washington, with my experience in business and engineering, I stood the professional engineers and surveyors license board. We got my license as a surveyor about 30 years ago and operated that business of my own for a long time. I think if you take and look at my application, in my experience, what I can do, and a bunch of people apply for the job and knowing the town as I do, where the drainage problems are, and worked here in an engineering capacity for all these years, I think you ought to hire a city manager. You don't have to hire me, you already got me.
All right, Eric, same question. Many communities in our region employ a city manager to carry out the day-to-day duties of the city. What are your thoughts on hiring a city manager should you be elected?
A city manager is a great idea where it's important. But, however, the city of Hazelhurst and everything being the size that it is, they've had a city manager in the past. And they found out that just really didn't work for them. A city manager also can be in the capacity where they have too much control over what goes on in the city to where they take and try to do things outside of the guise of the council, mayor, and whatever else. So they can, in fact, take and be a burden as well as an asset for one thing and the other. When you have good department heads that are strong and you're paying these people good money, you don't have the need for a city manager. You have the need for somebody to take and let these people make these decisions. Let them take and come to the council with the decisions that are being made. Let them take and do their jobs, what they're getting paid for. I mean, if you're having to do their jobs for them, what do you need them for? Why do you need these people? I mean, you've got to take and understand, if you're paying people good money, you need to let them do their job. And if you don't have the faith in them to start off with, why don't you put them in a position? You need to ask yourself that also, because you have to take and look at it. They're paid a good salary, let them do their job. Let the council and mayor do their job by taking and backing them up or shutting them down where it needs to be. Because like I said, that's the bottom line. These people get paid to do this. They get paid to make these decisions. Let's let them. We don't need a city manager in Hazelhurst at this point.
The next question is, the city's downtown and Main Street are a vital part of the economic development. What will you do to help grow, revitalize, and promote the city's downtown area?
At this time and everything, we've got Mrs. Roy Cheney, who's been doing a great job, but we need to get the DDA reestablished. We need to take and put teeth into it and everything, and for future growth and resources, whether it's funding, grants, anything like that. And the city needs to support this, and the people of Hazelhurst need to support this also. Let's fix what we have downtown. Let's make it attractive to people. Let's put welcome signs in our city limits, what we call gateway signs and whatever. That got lost in the shuffle somewhere about 3 or 4 years ago. We had it all set up to do and whatever, and it got lost in the shuffle with the gateway signs that we had out, that we're going to get. DDA is sometimes a thankless job for the simple reason, number one, because it's a voluntary job. And we need the citizens helping so we can make this a better and a vibrant place in the downtown and everything. But we need to put teeth into getting the DDA established so we can take and build it back up. Like I said, Ms. Roy, hats off to you. You've done a great job so far, and we appreciate what you and yours have done down there. And I know it's a lot of hard work, and I know you need help. And like I said, but we need to get the DDA established. Like I I said, we need to take and try to recruit these people, see if we can't get them out there to help, so we can get this program built back up.
Bain, same question for you. The city's downtown and Main Street are a vital part of economic development. What will you do to help grow, revitalize, and promote the city's downtown area?
Everything I possibly can. Again, ladies and gentlemen, and referring to the county, the two agencies of government, the county commissioners and the city council. Somehow, and if the commissioners were all sitting here, I'd say the same thing. I'm not shy of making this. Somehow or other, the county commissioners have got the opinion that Hazelhurst is a separate entity from the county commissioners. And that the city's supposed to pay half and the county's supposed to pay half. Well, the city of Hazelhurst is part of the county. And we generate the milk here, the money, the sales tax and all this stuff comes in. The county gets if we generate, and we do generate a little more than this, but I'm just going to use these figures for simplicity. When we generate $10 million worth of sales tax and all these stores, the county takes $8 million and gives us $2 million. I've already told you we don't get these industries that we run water to and sewer to and provide, and we want to. And next time a company come in, we'll run it out there too. But here again, ladies and gentlemen, to help you downtown, get rid of two governments fighting one another. Get you a single government to run. We're a small county. Get it where when the person gets elected, he hasn't got to just say, I'm going to take care of the roads for the county. He's got to look after the town. Part of that money's got to go where it's needed in the city and whatnot. So my idea of promoting downtown again is to get to the point that when a person seeks office, he not only's got to look after the far reaches of the county, he's got to look after the city of Hazelhurst. And that will simplify the program tremendously.
The sixth question is for Bain again. What roles do education play in community and economic development, and how can you collaborate with our community's educational partners to better serve Hazelhurst?
People seek and come to Jeff Davis County because of our school facilities. No one's got any better facilities than we've got. They are excellent. Jam up. The staff, I know most of them. We've got fine bunch of teachers, and we should be grateful, and I'm grateful for that. I've got a little problem, and me being a college graduate with we've got a little advanced degrees later on. When you say education, get an education, do this. I'm known for doing this. I'm going to be a little bit negative about promoting education. Get the test right, get this diploma, get the next diploma, whatnot. I'm more interested in seeking and acquiring knowledge. I would like for, instead of calling it the Department of Education, to call it the Department of Pursuit of Knowledge and Wisdom. And I think they're doing that. They're emphasizing trade schools, vocations, and whatnot. So you can't emphasize knowledge enough. Knowledge, learning, wisdom, and this business of the way the education department has gone, you got to pass this test, you got to teach it, you're working to death. That teacher in that classroom, her main emphasis ought to be putting in that young child, little age, whatever age the person is, putting within them, if their skills and such are such, trade is more important, but they should be dwelling on the fact, I want to make this a knowledgeable person, and I think you can't do enough. You can't emphasize it enough than the pursuit of knowledge and wisdom and skills.
Aaron, I have the same question for you. What role does education play in the community and economic development, and how can you collaborate with our community's educational partners to better serve Hazelhurst?
Okay, we as a council and mayor and whatever else, we need to take and make sure that we're staying in touch with educators and superintendents. We need to take and be able to set up times with the students from the city and the county for all of the appropriated age groups, mainly the juniors and seniors and everything. What the council and the commissioners actually do for the cities, so we can keep them informed as to what goes on. Not exactly say what goes on, but how they work. And to speak to them about the importance of voting and getting out and having a voice. And what it's about to support the local community that we have here. These young men and women, they're the future of Hazelhurst. Now, if they don't understand what we do as a council, what we do as a commission, what commissioners do, and what the importance of voting is, are they going to take and stay here? Are they going to support it? Are they going to get out there and do it? We have to educate them as to what it is, because why they need to do this. And you know, all of my grandchildren have at one time or another, and all of them that are school appropriate, they go to Jeff Davis school system. And it's one of the best school systems there is, period. But to take and keep these kids informed, and these young men and women informed as to what the workings of the local government is and what it does, that's paramount there. And with that being said, that will also help our community development. It'll help our downtown development, because it lets them see why they need to take an interest in it, not just somebody told them to. Let them see firsthand why they need to take an interest, why they need to take and be prepared to take over the spots when we leave. Because like I said, they are our future. And if we cannot take and prepare them to be here, it's our own fault.
You have one question left, and for both of you, you get 1 minute apiece. You have 1 minute for a summation of the conclusion.
All right, 1 minute. I believe that the city needs to look over the hood down the road for the future of Hazelhurst. The old money's gone, and it's up to us to develop leaders and something that we can build on. There will be some hard decisions that need to be made in the next few years if we as a city want to grow and prosper. I feel I am by far the best candidate for the office of mayor, and can make these decisions when it comes time for the betterment of all of Hazelhurst. This is something I wholeheartedly feel. This is the way I believe our future is going to have some hard decisions, and not everybody's going to be happy. I can deal with it. I can live with it. With all that said, thank you. God bless America.
All right, Bane, you have the same 1 minute for your summation.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you all for coming, and thank you, the Chamber and Farm Bureau for sponsoring this event. I enjoy being mayor. I hit that office down there, mayor's office, about 7:30 every morning. I enjoy getting there. I look forward to going to that office, meeting with the people around town, and then I'm out all over town looking after business. I thoroughly enjoy it. And my intent is, while I'm there, my wife is buried out at Graham Cemetery, and I've already got my slab laying there. And that's where they're going to carry me one of these days. And before I go out there, I want to say, people to say and to feel myself that because I was here, because I was mayor, things are better in Hazelhurst, Georgia. And I'm trying every day to let that be the legacy. Hazelhurst is better because Bane Stone was there.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Griffin, and thank you, Mr. Stone, for your time tonight. And that would be the conclusion of the mayor's race. We're about to get ready for the city council questions for Ward 3. That would be Ms. Diane Leggett and Mr. Johnny Miles. And we're going to do it the same way. We're going to rotate. So the first question is for Ms. Leggett. You have 2 minutes to introduce yourself and tell us why you are qualified to serve on the City Council Ward 3.
I want to thank you all for inviting us here tonight. I am Diane Leggett, in case anyone doesn't know who I am. I've lived in Hazelhurst all my life, and I was married to the late Edward Leggett for 55 years. And, I'm like Brother Fane, we carried him to, I call it Leggettville, and, that's where my slab is, and that's, one day I hope I go there. But, I have 4 children, I have 4 grandchildren, and I have 4 great-grandchildren. They're not the best kids in the world, but they mine. And I feel that I'm qualified. I have a 4-year degree in at Fruit Parker, and I didn't graduate until 1997. I was 50 years old, and I'm proud of it every day. So, that's me.
All right, thank you, Ms. Leggett. Mr. Miles, same question for you. You have 2 minutes to introduce yourself and tell us why you're qualified to serve on City Council Ward 3.
Hi, everybody. My name is Johnny Miles. Everybody call me Bill Baby. I am married.
Speak up.
I am married to a very lovely young lady, and that name is Nana Miles. I am a small business owner, entrepreneur, and I work hard every day. I love everybody. I don't meet strangers. You know, I've been blessed. I come from a long ways, from a very poor family. I got 5 kids. I got about 12 grands, and I got 2 great grands. I thank God for that. And the reason why I think I'll make the best person for Ward 3 is because, you know, I'm a stand-up kind of man. I believe in doing what's right. I believe it'll be easy for me to listen to what the people have to say and to bring it to the council meeting and we get something done about it. I don't want to just hear it and walk by. I want to be able to do something about it. I went to college for a little while. I went to nursing school. I went to the hospital a long time. Went to nursing school, but I didn't finish because I met the apple of my eye. But throughout the years, God has blessed me. I do have a good sense of humor. I'm a leader and not a father. So therefore, I'll just close on that. And I thank you.
All right, Mr. Miles, thank you. All right, the second question we have, this is for Mr. Miles again, is what do you see as the most important needs in your ward, and how do you plan to address those needs? I don't think they can hear you.
Well, you know, when I come home in the evening time, sometimes it be dark on my street. You know, my wife, she go and she come and she leaves. And sometimes she come home when it's dark. And I just, you know, I thought about the other day that we might could use a couple more street lights. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody, every man, as well as I am, I'll just speak for the men. You know, you want your wife protected. You know, you don't never know what's going on. You don't always see what's going on. You want her to see what's going on. And some people tell me, well, you know, we need this and we need that. But I tell them like this. You bring it to me, I'll take it to the council. You know, to the council meetings. You're elected. And we will discuss it. You know, and do the best thing that we need to do for the people. My main objective of this board.
All right, Ms. Diane, same question for you. What do you see as the most important needs in your ward, and how do you plan to address these needs?
Okay, I think drainage is a problem. Over in the south side area, over on Hattonsteel Road, that is a problem. It's been a problem for a long time, but as we all know, one person can't do everything. One person can't, you know, take care of that by himself. It takes the whole, as a whole, to do things like this. But the drainage problem is a problem, and like Johnny just said, the street lights, I don't have that problem because I live across from one of the schools, so therefore I have plenty of light. But I do see what he was talking about with the problem, and that would be something to work on that you know, could be worked on as a whole.
The next question is for you again. If the city of Hazelhurst was to receive a $10 million grant, how could it be put to best use?
Honestly, I don't know how the grants would work, if they would designate it for a specific thing, or if they, just let you have a grant and just do as you have to with it. But I hit those potholes every night coming home from work. But I've almost learned where they are, and I hope that the police don't get behind me because I am swerving. I try to miss those potholes because it is trying to tear my car up. But the downtown streets do need a lot of work. I mean, they've had a lot of work, but where they have the manhole, I guess that's what you call it, you just dip down. It's like you're falling off a cliff, or the front end of your car is. But like I said, that's a problem, as well as the drainage problem and the light problem.
All right, Mr. Johnny, same question for you. If the city of Hazelhurst was to receive a $10 million grant, how could it be put to best use?
First of all, the city of Hazelhurst.
Sorry.
First of all, if the city of Hazelhurst received a $10 million grant, if elected, I would love to get with the city councilman and the mayor and have the discussion that we need to have to see where the money need to be put. You know, like Ms. Diane said, maybe some need to put in, need to be put in the street, like in the potholes, but not just only fill up the potholes, fix the streets right. I wouldn't want to do no more than we can get together and do. You see what I'm saying? When I said we, I mean, if we like me and the other 3 city councilmen and the mayor, get together and just sit down and do what really needs to be done for the city and the county of Jeff Davis.
I'll give it right back to you. The next question is, what role does this education play in the community and economic development, and how can you collaborate with the community's educational partners to better serve Hazelhurst?
I was listening to Mr. Bain and Eric, and they were saying about the school system. They said we do have a nice school system, which is good, but it's always room for improvement. So we as a city councilman, just like Eric said, need to get out and collaborate with the people, to find out what's going on with them and to let them know what's going on with us. Let's get with one accord. And then, what I would do to make it better, I would only just hit the junior high school and the senior high school. I would start at elementary. First of all, I would link up with the city police department, and I would I would try to help them with the DARE program. DARE to keep kids away from drugs. I would make that powerful. And second of all, I would stop the bullying in these schools. You know what I'm saying? Because it starts in elementary school and it goes up. And and I'll let these kids know that it's all right to say no. And just okay is not okay.
All right, Ms. Diane, same question for you. What role does education play in the community and economic development, and how can you collaborate with the educational partners to better serve Hazelhurst?
Personally, I feel education is the #1 thing. All my kids go to school here. All my grandkids go to school here in Jeff Davis County and Hazelhurst. And we do have a fine set of teachers. They all try to work with the parents. Our teachers they text us on a daily basis, and it's just a fine organization. But also the governments have got to get along, got to come together and do these things together. One government can't do everything, and, you know, that other one can't do everything. So it's just a all-in-one thing, and I just feel like that we could make a difference, and they could make a difference if we could just all, you know, put the differences aside and get along.
The next question is actually a two-part question. The first part of it is, what do you consider to be the city's greatest challenges and strengths in regards to economic development? And how can you help promote the strengths and address the challenges? Ms. Diane?
Get above this. You know, let me read this question for myself. All of the greatest challenges, I will say, we have a good group. Now, we honestly do. Our city council and our mayor, and, you know, we just have a good group of people. And I think that that is one of our strengths here in Hazelhurst. We, in the past, we've not had real good standing as far as city council, but I think we have a magnificent group, and I think we can continue to be that way. And as far as strengths, that is some of that. And then the challenges are, you know, just getting things done for the city and for the people in your ward. Honor those people. Those people are the ones that vote us in. We have to take care of our ward. And then when they all come together, and if elected, I will do the very best to my ability to do this.
Mr. Johnny, same question for you. What do you consider to be the city's greatest challenges and strengths in regards to economic development, and how can you help promote the strengths and address the challenges?
Well, you know, just recently, you know, we had a few businesses coming to town, you know, and thanks to the city councilman, you know, whoever was responsible. But my thing is this, you know, we got these businesses coming to town, you know, that's a challenge, because I want to make sure that we, as the citizens of Hazelhurst, be able to, first of all, get together, get with one accord, and create jobs around here. Not to only take care of the city and the county, but to help these businesses. You know, I mean, look at Popeye, Captain D's, all these businesses, they bring a pizza place here. We need to have a way to patronize, not only them, but all the businesses. You understand what I'm saying? Because, I mean, and then, if everybody gets with one accord, it's easy to do, first of all. And second of all, you know, if elected, I'm gonna go around the Ward 3, and I'm gonna talk to the people, you know, and then let them know, you know, united we stand, divided we fall. We just gotta pull together as a whole to make Hazelhurst work like it's supposed to, because, you know, this has been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming. Because, you know, some people in this audience in here remember when every business come to Hazelhurst, when it was put on the, you know what I'm saying, when it was put on the agenda to discuss this and discuss that, it got turned down. But now we're finally getting businesses to come to Hazelhurst. We need to do all we can. And the challenge is that we get together as a whole and let the county commissioners and the city councilors figure out a way to. Sorry about that, y'all.
Mr. Johnny, my next question for you is, if you could change one thing in our zoning code, what would it be and why?
If I could change one thing in the zoning code, it would be to keep commercial, and to keep residential. Make it a lot easier to do. You know, in Hazelhurst, we got places like, we got the hotel here. Yeah, we got the Best Western, we got the one right here in town. And then we got a big house, which is, it's a business place, which is good. But then you got houses right here. You see what I'm saying? You got the old Chapman House right here. And it's been there for years, you know. My thing is this, if elected, I would like to talk to some of the people, you know, let's get together and do some other things for the community. You understand what I'm saying? Like, not just take the people's house or nothing like that. I just, you know, just talk to them and see if we can buy it from them and keep the commercial. And you know, and the residential, we'll keep it residential. I mean, and make it easy for the people. You know what I'm saying? Not make it so hard.
Ms. Diane, I have the same question for you. If you could change one thing in our zoning code, what would it be and why?
Okay. Honestly, zoning codes are like outer space to me. I'm the first to admit it, but I am willing to learn. I feel like I can learn. I learn things every day. And like I said, I don't know a whole lot about zoning codes, and that just flies right over my head. But if elected, I will learn, and I will do everything possibly to keep things like they should be.
We're on our very last one. You each vote. You each have 1 minute for your summation. Ms. Diane.
You don't make that up. Sorry.
See, I don't think I need that. Okay, in summary, this is my town. This is my little city. I was born here in Goldman's Old Hospital. Too many years ago. But anyway, I was born in Goldman's Hospital, and I have lived here. I love this town, and there is nothing that I know that is better. Now, my kids ramble all over the world, but it's like my t-shirt says that I've got at home. No matter where I roam, Hazelhurst is still my home.
Mr. Johnny, the same for you. You have 1 minute for your submission.
Read the question again.
You have 1 minute.
1 minute, my permission. Y'all excuse me. I got y'all across. Well, I like to say this, you know. First of all, I want to give thanks to everybody that came tonight. First of all, I want to give thanks to everybody that came tonight. And I want to give thanks to the good Lord up above for letting me be able to be a part of this. You know, Hazelhurst is my home also. And I was born over there in the project. Over there, I was born by a midwife. So you know I've been here for a while. But I will do everything I need to do to make sure that the people in my ward is taken care of. I will get with the city councilmen, and we will have a meeting, and we'll figure out what needs to be done for the city. That's my ultimate purpose for being here tonight. That's all I can say.
The last set is for the City Council Ward 3. It would be Mr. John Woodworth and Mr. Ricky Phillips. I'm sorry, Ward 4. I knew that. And we're going to do it the same way. Mr. Bloodworth, you'll go first, and Mr. Phillips, you'll go second. The first question I have for you both, Will, is for you to have 2 minutes to introduce yourself and tell us why you are qualified to serve on the City Council Ward 4.
Thank you for having me here tonight. First and foremost, my name is John Bloodworth. I live here. I was raised here in Ward 4 is where I used to ride my bicycle and walk when I was a little boy all over this town. And one thing that makes me qualified for this seat is that I recognize who that seat belongs to. That seat belongs to the people. And I'll sit in that seat and occupy that seat and work for the people night and day. Anytime they call and ask how high, or jump, I'll ask how high. You know, I have a local business here. My mother had a business here. My relatives have businesses here. And I care about this community. You know, that makes me qualified for this.
Ricky, the same for you. You have 2 minutes to introduce yourself and tell us why you are qualified to serve on City Council Ward 4.
My name is Ricky Phillips. I'm an 8-year Marine Corps veteran. I served in combat. I have 25 years of management experience. I also live in Ward 4. I've been in the city of Hazelhurst since 1998. I have 4 children. I'm married to the beautiful Letitia Phillips. Sometimes when I have these crazy ideas of stuff that I'm doing, she is right there next to me. I have 4 children that have all graduated, 5 grandchildren. I'm the executive officer of the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, where our motto is Veterans Helping Veterans. Like John, I am here for the citizens. The only reason I'm here is for the citizens of Hazelhurst. I have no other agenda but to make my ward better, where my grandchildren are going to grow up.
All right, the next question I have for you all is, what do you see as the most important needs in your ward, and how do you plan to address those needs?
I had a little bit different agenda when it came to this. I actually went out into the ward, asked the same questions to people that live in the ward, and here's some of the reactions that I got, some of the answers. Collins Street, right where they put the new sidewalk, there's only a 1-8-inch gap right there between the sidewalk and the street. So if somebody happens to swerve 6-8 inches off, they're onto the sidewalk. And in the middle of the sidewalk, where hopefully my grandchildren are riding their bicycles. In fact, excuse me, I have a cheat sheet. I lost my place. Trash pickup, inconsistent. Sometimes it comes on Thursdays, sometimes it comes on Fridays. The debris pickup is on the outside. You never know when it's coming and when it's not coming. It's not scheduled. Sometimes when people put the furniture out there, debris throughout cutting the trees and the limbs and everything, you really don't know when they're going to come. So it can sit there. I've done it 3 times in the last 3 months. Raking my yard completely up. 2 days later, spread out all across. You never know when that they're coming or not. That would be something I'm assuming the city would take care of. It hasn't gotten any better. It's supposed to have gotten better, and it hasn't. Potholes. Tremendous amount of potholes, especially on Kelly Street in my ward. There's a pretty big pothole that the lady was pretty aggravated about when she talked to me about it. I think better decisions on spending. We should be more involved in the spending of our money. Being more proactive instead of reactive with some of the spending. Sometimes we do it because we have to do it. We should have already took a step to make sure that we did it ahead of time.
Johnson, to you, what do you see as the most important needs in your ward, and how do you plan to address these needs?
One of the needs that in the ward has been addressed is these sidewalks, safe route to school grant, that we put sidewalks all around our school system. We have updated our roads and resurfaced them. What's important to me in my ward is when people call and they want empty lots mowed, or law enforcement to be seen more in the ward, people running stop signs and that sort of thing. Crime suppression is a big one. But answer my opponent here question, or to make a statement regarding those, some things, equipment in the city tears up. There are storms all the time. When the truck is down, naturally it's going to, make for a longer pickup time, or if we're on another area that has a more pressing need at the given moment. But I think we're doing a fine job.
The next question I have for you all is, if the city of Hazelhurst was to receive a $10 million grant, how could it be put to best use?
I would take the money and just put it broadly, like the mayor and Eric Bowe said, public safety, streets, water and sewer, parks, the golf course. If we got a grant that, like Diane and Johnny said a while ago, didn't specify a specific thing or a specific item, I'd spread it on and put our DDA. Roy, you and your husband's doing a fantastic job, godsend, and I'd put some in the DDA as well.
Same question for you, Ricky. If the city of Hazelhurst was to receive a $10 million grant, how could it be put to best use?
The first thing I would do is look at paying off some of the city debt. We have gotten ourselves in a fix, I believe, in some areas. $10 million probably wouldn't come close to fixing the debt problem, but it would help. I'd take a look at the city and the sewage and the water system. Dire need of repair. Goes back to the proactive part. We could be more proactive with some things. That would $10 million would help that. Put some money aside for the golf course, so we can at least break even at the golf course, instead of like we are now, struggling to get by month to month. Put some money aside for the cleanup and the restoration of downtown, like we have been. Make that a priority. That's what's going to attract businesses to our city. I would run out of money at that point.
The next question we have is, what role does education play in the community and economic development, and how can you collaborate with our community's educational partners to better serve Hazelhurst?
This is a big one. Education plays a major role in the economic development of any city. Well-educated, well-trained workforce means for a more profitable company. More profitable company means for higher wages and benefits for its employees and their families, which in turn, tax breaks. You need to sit down and talk to people, and we need to sit down and talk to the local businesses that are here, see what their needs are, education, vocational-wise. Actually sit down and say, Rhonda, what do you need out there as far as training? Same thing at Hazelhurst Wood Pellets. Same thing, what do we need as far as training and resources to get students that aren't going to go to college, vocational training to come out there? If they want to be in law enforcement, put them with Ken Williams, put them in the police department. Let them see what goes on. Well-structured education will attract business to our area. We have one of the best school systems in the state, without question. Let's utilize that by sitting down with the local business leaders and seeing exactly what kind of needs we need.
John, I have the same question for you. What role does education play in community and economic development, and how can you collaborate with the community's educational partners to better serve Hazelhurst?
Education plays a big role in economic development. I, for one, have tried to get the city and the county and the Jeff Davis Board of Education all together on a retreat, or we've actually had a little event here at the golf course where some of the county commissioners come out and the Board of Education members, and we all got together. We didn't really talk business, but we got to know one another a little bit better. And that's what we need to do, is to meet on a regular basis and try to create an environment that will bring industry into this Hazelhurst and to create a workforce that has.
The next question is, what do you consider to be the city's greatest challenges and strengths in regards to economic development? And how can you promote the strengths and address the challenges, John?
One of our challenges, and it's really a big challenge, is our ability. We're not attractive for industry to come in. And I mentioned Rory a while ago, her and her husband are doing a tremendous job to get Hazelhurst a facelift and to look better. And we still got a long way to go. But we need to get attractive for industry to come in here.
Ricky, what do you consider to be the city's greatest challenges and strengths in regards to economic development? And how can you promote the strengths and address the challenges?
Attracting and retaining business in any area is very competitive and challenging. We need to make sure we're presenting Hazelhurst as a city that's willing to work future and existing businesses in our community. I don't think sometimes that we do that. Lack of communication maybe in some areas. I don't think that we give enough tax breaks in some instances. Educational and vocational needs, that's important for us companies that's going to come in here. We need to make sure that we have well-trained people that are willing to accept the challenge. I think one of the strengths, without question, the greatest asset of the citizens of Hazelhurst, without question. We need to make sure that we have leadership in place to take care of them.
Ricky, if you could change one thing in our zoning code, what would it be and why?
I am like Ms. Leggett. I did get a copy of the zoning codes, and it's like reading Braille. The last time that it was updated was 1998. At what point is the city of Hazelhurst going to update the book? That would be the first thing that I would be concerned about. There's no amendments, there's nothing, anything. Date 1998 on it. That's the first thing that I would do.
John, if you could change one thing in our zoning code, what it would be and why?
Well, I've been on the board for 4 years, or for the council for 4 years, and we have a zoning board. And I put my trust and confidence in that zoning board, that when there's a zoning issue, they bring it before the city council. And the city council hears from Mr. Bobby Gooch, who's been on that board for some time, and does a tremendous job. And I put my trust in him, so that's where I stand on the zoning.
We are down to the last question. You both have 1 minute for your summation. And John, you go first.
Again, I'll reintroduce myself. John Bloodworth. I've been here all my life. I want to stay here. I want to work here and live here, and I want Hazelhurst to be prosperous. I've been serving you for 4 years, and I'd like to serve you 4 more. And I understand and recognize that you're the boss of the people, and I work for you. And this seat belongs to you, and as long as I occupy it, it always will. Thank you.
Ricky, you have 1 minute for your submission.
I too am for the people of my ward. That, like John said, that seat belongs to the people of Ward 4, without question. I'd like to take my 25 years of management experience, put that to work for the city council. Make it a place where my grandchildren, when they do come back, have a place that they can work, a place that is enjoyable, a place that's attractive, so they can raise my great-grandchildren. Like John, I'm also the voice. This seat belongs to the voice people, the people of Ward 4. That's the bottom line.
I'm going to give it over to Shannon.
Thank you all again for coming out tonight, supporting this event. On behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, I would just like to encourage you all to go out and vote November the 5th. We hope that after the event tonight that you are better informed and you will be a better educated voter. And we anticipate that you all will go out and to express to everyone else in the city of Amherst the importance of their vote. We do have some sample ballots back on the table here when you are on your way out tonight. If you will help yourself, if you want to take that, make some copies and spread those throughout the community. We want to just get as many of our citizens educated and informed and make sure everyone is registered to vote. And again, let's push November 5th, get everyone out to the polls to vote. We also have registration cards, voter registration cards back here. There's also some Jeff Davis Living magazine, some other literature. If you'll just take a moment and check out the table at the back. Thank you again, everyone, for coming out tonight. We appreciate your time and your attention. And again, on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, we appreciate your interest in our community, and we are officially adjourned.
Oh.